Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well as we get into a news video which was not really expected. I did tell you guys if anything pops up that is worth talking about, then we're going to get a video. But later on is the main event. Later on is the watch along for Chelsea's last 16 Club World Cup tie against Benfica. Make sure you guys are here, we can watch it together. And straight after that, the match review, win, lose or draw. So make sure you guys are there, much appreciated. Before we get into proceedings and we get into the latest on a certain player from a certain club that we've never shopped at before, never, I want to show you something because I've got something for you. Check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, I have astonishing news. We have a front of channel sponsor. It's not exactly the shirt, but we managed to get something on here to show you guys. So thank you to Surfshark. For those that don't know, Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network that offers all sorts of protection and change of location in case you can't watch certain things because of where you are in the world. This comes in handy for me all the time, not only for my protection of my files, my photos, videos, direct messages, and security in terms of accessing websites, etc. But when it comes to watching football, and not just watching live football, but watching clips. You know, how many times have you been on social media if you're not in a certain location and then you get, sorry, can't play this from the location that you're in? Well, all you have to do is hit that Surfshark button, hit the location you want. Multiple countries and places in the world that you can change your location to based on your preference. And all of a sudden you're laughing. Now you can access everything. This happens to me with a lot of the English content. Many people across the world have the same sort of thing. All it takes with Surfshark is a press of a button. No better. You can have it on multiple devices at the same time, like myself. I mean, my setup, my phone, whenever I'm needed, I'm on the go. Boom, it's there, it's accessible. So this helps in terms of being out and about, having to access to watch certain football matches live. All I got to do is change my location, and now I have access to whatever streaming platform that I want to access in order to watch my live football, especially those Saturday 3 p.m. kickoffs that we all know are just simply a hassle to access, especially if you're in the UK. So don't miss out on this chance to be able to get this offer. Surfshark is available, and not only that, but if you use the code YTF at checkout, hitting the link in the description, you'll be able to get 4 extra months of Surfshark for you to enjoy. So hit the link down below. Don't forget at checkout, code YTF for 4 extra months. And you're very welcome. Now, thank you to our front of channel sponsor, Surfshark. And let's get cracking on with the rest of the video. So, thank you very much to Surfshark. Let's get underway with the latest on a player that we've mentioned a couple of times on this channel. And it seemed like he was a little bit back of the line. But he plays for a certain club, which means that there is no back of the line for this player because he plays at this certain club, and anyone at this certain club gets first dibs and a priority fast track service whenever Chelsea Football Club come into the picture. So here's the latest on Brighton's Jao Pedro. Chelsea and Newcastle both remain involved in Jao Pedro race. On top of this, that was from Fabrizio, we have Brighton have rejected 2 bids from 2 clubs in excess of £50 million for Jao Pedro. The second club is believed to be Chelsea. You know what's funny? This came out and it was said Newcastle's bid was rejected, and Brighton also rejected a bid from an unnamed second Premier League club. I'm like, I wonder who that is then. Let me guess. You know what? I think, yeah. I think it might be Bournemouth. Gotta be Bournemouth, right? Of course it's Chelsea. Let's not be stupid here. But let's get into more. Sky Sports said Chelsea are in talks with Brighton over Jao Pedro, as well as Newcastle. Brighton want around £60 million. And on top of that, from Sky Sports, we have Brighton forward Jao Pedro would only consider a move to a club where he was first choice striker. this is, yeah, it's not surprising to see where things are starting to steer. Yeah. We started off this window talking about, let's talk about Osimhen, talking about Gyökeres, and we're like, oh no, you know what? The more realistic option is looking like it's going to be Ekitike. We got Liam Delap. Is that enough? He's still a bit raw. It would be nice to have someone else. Then the whole Jackson thing happened, and I personally cut my ties. I'm like, listen, this is over. So we need a striker. And now we're talking about Brighton's Jao Pedro. Yeah. And I've said this before, that if we're talking about someone who is versatile, the other option that we've been linked with is Kudus. Someone that can play up top if needed, but can play along anywhere in that front line. Which is where the whole logic came in of, okay, if we're going to get Gittins, for example, we're getting Esteval Willian in. Technically, all that's really needed, we've got Delap in. All that's needed is someone else as depth that can play anywhere along that front line, and we might be all right. And in that regard, Jao Pedro does fit the bill. But like myself, and I think many others have gone, no, you know what? I prefer Kudus because the quality overall is just higher. Jao Pedro is looking like the guy Chelsea are actually going for. And for what, 60 mil, 55 mil, something like that. So this is where we have to be honest and realistic. Chelsea are on the brink of spending, what's it going to be, 110, 120 million pounds on Gittins and Jao Pedro. This is where their frustration that builds up. Because as much as these two players are young, again, they've got potential, they've got a high ceiling, and who knows? You have to be honest here. You can't write it off completely, but it's frustrating when you see the same money being spent by a club like Man City that go and get Shirky, Reinders, Aït-Nouri. Do you know what I mean? Like that's spending 110 million pounds effectively. That is levels. Do you know? And here it's just more experimentation. It's more. Now, the one thing about Jao Pedro that I don't think even I can't debate this, right? Someone that has been very anti going to Brighton for anything. I've had enough of dealing with that football club. So far, the two players that we've actually got from there have actually been two of our best performing players. That being said, we've also got another player from there, and it's all gone a little bit left in some departments. Caicedo and Cucurella are pretty much up and running and looking really good for us. The two best players last season for us. Yeah? Which says something considering we got Cole Palmer in the team. Sanchez is the other guy, where we know the good traits he has, but playing a certain way, and if everyone's trying to develop this trait of playing with the ball now, the goalkeeper has to basically be a flipping defender at this point and be a ball-playing goalkeeper, right? Then that's just not working with Sanchez. Our history overall getting players from there has been frustrating, but actually been decent. So this is where I think there's going to be a portion of the fan base that are going to look at Jao Pedro and go, no, this one might actually work out really well. And because of his versatility, that's the selling point here. But if we look at the player, if we look at Jao Pedro as a player, does he move you? Personally, I'm not moved. He looks all right, but I don't want all right. I want levels. I want ballers to come into this team and be like, oh my God, that's the player we got. Holy crap. Like that. I don't feel like what Jao Pedro has illustrated at Brighton is showing that. I'll give an example. The two players that we actually got from Brighton, Cucurella, I advocated for. I was like, I would love Cucurella at Chelsea. I remember. And you remember, for those of you that were there. I could feel it. this is a good player there. There's a good player there, right? I wouldn't mind having that in my team at all. Caicedo. There were many people. Personally, I wasn't someone going, oh my God, no, absolutely, we absolutely need Caicedo. Once the link started, I was like, no, you know what? Yeah, this is someone that could actually be pretty good. Caicedo's now come into his own. That is someone that moved a lot of people. Is anyone really moved by Jao Pedro? I'm not. I want to know your opinion. I just feel like it's going to be, what, 60 million and we're going to get average. And on top of that, he wants to play up front. Now, he does predominantly play as a centre-forward, technically, but he does drop into other areas of the front line, which is where I'm saying the selling point is. And he's had really good games. Don't get me wrong. He's had really good games, but he's had games there where, and not just a few, where it's been, oh, he's not really done much. Or he's actually had games where he's just missed, like, sitters. I'm like, are we going to really be getting someone that fits similarly to how we've got Jackson at the moment? Because that's not what I want. You see, this is the problem. This is the problem, and this is how you know that you cannot be sure. Is when you start iffing and maybeing everything. When you start iffing and maybeing everything, you know you're not certain. Yeah? It's funny that going after Gittins and going after now Jao Pedro, the one young player that I actually look at and go, no, you know what? I wouldn't mind having him. Is Fofana from Lyon. And that's gone cold. It's funny, isn't it? I don't get my way. I don't get my way. But we have to be real here. He wants to come in and be the #1 striker. I have to apologize here and tell him, yo, there's no assurances to that. Liam Delap has just walked in. And not to say that he should be the #1, because realistically he shouldn't. But there should be a proper talisman up top that Delap is second to. And that's not Jao Pedro. I'm sorry, that's not. It has to be someone more senior and someone more prolific. And that's not Jao Pedro. In fact, I think Liam Delap's return is better than Jao Pedro as of their careers right now. So, you know, I just don't think I don't think that'll work. I just don't think that's necessary. You know? In fact, based on the profile, Ekitike makes more sense than Jao Pedro. Technically. But in terms of a centre forward, in terms of the versatility and having someone that can play on the left wing, having someone that can play on the right wing when needed, that is where I think Chelsea are sold. That is the main issue here, I think. And if that's the case, I would say, why not just go for Kudus? Each to their own. I know it's going to be a 50-50 split. 50% of you will tell me that Jao Pedro is better than Kudus, and the other 50 will tell me, no, Kudus is better than Jao Pedro. See, when things are indecisive, that's enough of an indicator for me to just kind of stay away. Personally. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know down below. But it looks like Chelsea are actually actively moving, courtesy of Paul Winstanley, of course, that we're going for Jao Pedro. So let me know your thoughts. I'm beginning to now see where this is steering, and I hope this is wrong. Because I told you this transfer window is going to tell us everything we need to know about this football club right now. Now, having got Champions League football, we are going to learn a lot from this transfer window. And it's going to tell the entire fan base what this ownership is really about and what these directors are really about. I'm worried that we're going to end up in a situation by the end of the window where we've got Gittins, we've got Jao Pedro, and we ain't got a goalkeeper. Petrovic has left. We've got Sanchez. Penders is #2. That's it. That's our window. And obviously we got the lab. That's it. That's our window. I've got a feeling that is a big possibility. I hope not. Let me know your thoughts. Let's turn to Madueke. What's the latest there? Fabrizio saying Arsenal discussed Noni Madueke internally this week as one of potential options. No proposals or talks by any club yet. It's an open situation. Money, money, money here. Money, money, money. Simple. I don't believe Chelsea are actively going to try and sell Madueke, but if Arsenal come in and go, yo, here's 55 million, at that point, I think Chelsea are all ears. So we'll see how this one develops. I can't help but think someone's going to make a move for Madueke eventually. Not now. Eventually in the transfer window, someone will make a move. and then we'll see what the reaction is going to be. But just remember I said that. My personal, this is just gut feeling, if I'm honest. I think there will be interest for Madueke, and I think someone will make a move. We'll see how Chelsea react. So, let me know your thoughts on that one. Arsenal are interested. Will they move? We'll see. James Trafford. We got news on him, and it looks like that's not someone that's coming to Chelsea. Hence why I told you, Sanchez, Penders, maybe that's it. I reckon we do go back in for Mike Maignan, but we're not going to move our terms. We're not going to give AC Milan what they want. I just don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see if AC Milan do fold. That's probably what Chelsea are waiting for. And if not, there's just Sanchez and Penders. But the alternative that everyone thought we would turn to, myself included, looks like it's not happening. Hearing James Trafford to Newcastle is pretty much done, says Luke Edwards from The Telegraph. So that's looking like it's now over the line. James Trafford heading over to the Toon. So, interesting development there. That means we're not going to be able to get the whole Manchester City under-23 gang back together again. Because James Trafford's going to go off to Newcastle. So, you know, maybe we've reached our quota with the Man City under-23 lot. And we're not going after more after Gittins. So we'll see what happens there. But let me know your thoughts on that one. To wrap up, news coming out of Turkey, which is a very interesting development. Well, Saudi and Turkey, here it is. It's definitely over between Jhon Duran and Al Nassr. Fenerbahce are now closing in on the deal after green light from Al Nassr for the Colombian striker to leave the club. Director Ojek on it to agree full terms with Duran and bring him to Fenerbahce. So, Jhon Duran's heading over to Jose. This is going to be an interesting one. And this is the downside of those that go to Saudi too early. Because Jhon Duran is young, and he went and he got, at least he got a bag. You know, he's not going to stay there to keep getting bags, but he's gone there to get a bag, and he's definitely got one, so fair play. But at so young, when you've got so much to do in football, Saudi's not the place yet. Saudi want it to become the place, but you're kidding yourself if you think that is right now. It's not happening. So if you're starting to get on and you're a proper senior in football, you should consider Saudi because the packages there are just crazy. The game is developing. But it's not the place for football yet. And Jhon Duran made the move way too soon. And I think he's probably had a cultural shift. Something that he can't handle. And he's like, I want to go back to Europe now. I'm done. So Jhon Duran, Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho, this could work out pretty well. He's going to have to take a big pay cut because he's not going to be earning what he's earning in Saudi, that's for sure. I think he's happy to take that though because he wants to leave blatantly. He's leaving Al Nassr. So Jhon Duran, Fenerbahce, like I've said, are making moves. Interesting moves. We knew that they were linked with Sancho in the past week. They are doing the utmost that they can to get a team capable of taking Galatasaray down. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the new season is going to hold and if Fenerbahce are actually going to finally get the job done. We'll see. But Jhon Duran to Fenerbahce under Jose, what do you think? Let me know down below. And I'll catch all of you later on. Make sure you're here. Watch along. Benfica versus Chelsea. We'll watch the game together. And we'll see how it pans out. Last 16, bring it on. Let's try and get to the quarterfinal. I'll see all of you later on. Subscribe, notification bell on. Catch you later. In a bit. Take care. Peace.